Welcome back, humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I am Catherine, co-host and bestie to Tracy.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, we are recording in the morning.
I like when we record in the morning because I
do
feel
too.
more fresh,
Yeah.
alert. I may
Oh.
not sound it, but...
Well, let's see how this goes. Because today's topic, friends, is weird obsessions.
I know. It's exciting.
And it is a weird,
Yeah.
all caps, W-E-I-R-D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. Toot toot. The Life Happens, Laugh Anyway train is about to
Here
leave the
it
station.
comes. All aboard.
That's right. We're just two friends that decided to do a podcast because, well, pandemic.
Someone said to.
Right.
Your manager.
Yes, he said you should do a podcast because no comedy going on right now during the pandemic. And so we said, okay, what have we got to lose?
Yeah.
We've got the time. Let's do it. And it turns out we really like it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm glad that suggestion was made. Thank you.
Even if we have no listeners, we still have fun.
We absolutely do. We have listeners.
We do, but I'm just saying.
We just received a text from one of our listeners who listened to a previous podcast.
Yes, Lisa.
Yeah, and she said she listened to our Dreams podcast.
She sounded very inspired by it.
She did. So if you haven't heard that one, go back and tune in to our dreams. Like, not dream like you're dreaming, at night, but dream like what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what we do is we take a topic weekly, we research the interwebs, and then we come to this little pod lab in my home, our little podcast table, and we discuss it in hopefully an entertaining and informative way.
Right. And hopefully we inspire the listeners as well.
Well, that's the whole point.
Exactly.
Inspiration. That's right. So we bring some information
And inspiration.
and inspiration. Yeah. And so we always end every podcast with a little inspo from the Bible and point our listeners to Jesus.
Yeah.
You like that word, inspo?
Yeah. Didn't expect it.
You know who turned me on to that word was the gal who did my what do you call that? Like she dressed me. She dressed me.
Oh, your wardrobe.
Nisi.
Yeah, your wardrobe
My
gal.
wardrobe gal. Nisi. She sent me a Pinterest inspo
Oh, cool.
to inspire me for what I should wear for my filming, for my taping of my comedy show. I was like, oh, inspo. That sounds very, very cool.
Well, especially because she's younger, hipper.
Oh, I don't know about hipper. I got lots of hips. Anyway, and then we also have sponsors. So let's talk about them for a moment.
They are our husbands.
Yes.
Ken.
Ron and Kenny.
Right.
Ronnie and Kenny.
Yeah. We affectionately call them Pooh and Muffin. And together, it's Puffin.
Yeah. So thank you, Puffin, for sponsoring this podcast. And soon, friends, you're going to be able to
Sponsor as well.
dole out some dough.
Yeah.
Because we are going to add a way for you to support our podcast so that we can continue to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go on with weird obsessions. We have a few takeaways that we're going to hopefully leave you with if you hang in there with us for this whole episode. Number one, we're going to reveal some crazy obsessions.
And they're crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Way
people,
out
but
there. I would have never thought. Never.
No.
So we're going to talk about that. And then secondly, we're going to bring some awareness of what the experts say about this type of behavior.
Yeah.
And they call it OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So it is, a thing. And then finally, we're going to talk about treatment and kind of some signs of how to know
Yeah.
you got an issue.
And thankfully, there is treatment.
There is. There is. So there's hope if you have somebody in your world who's got these things going on. Of course, we're going to share some scripture at the end, and we're going to give a little preview of our next episode. So that's my
and a
agenda.
call to action.
Oh, that's right. The call to action.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget that. All right. Well, let's dive into crazy obsessions.
Yes. What say you first?
Well,
what you got?
Okay. I'm a... Could you tell I couldn't wait to talk? I am a visual and auditory learner.
Yeah, for sure you are.
I am absolutely that. And when I do research for the podcast, here's what I do. I go to YouTube.
Yeah.
and I put it in there, and YouTube never lets me down. It always gives me whatever. What I found was the TLC show that's called something like Weird Obsessions. What's it called?
Well, I don't know, but Ellis said it this morning, my daughter Ellis.
Yeah.
And I said, because I saw one, I just watched one. I mostly read the articles.
Right.
Anyway, and Ellis walked by and she goes, you watching the TLC obsession, my crazy obsession or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She knew instantly.
Oh, it's called My Strange Obsession.
Okay.
Whatever. Well, I couldn't stop watching it then. I even went to bed last night and I couldn't sleep, so I got up and I went back to YouTube and watched a few
Did you really?
more.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Well, we did an episode on insomnia, and in our episode, if you have insomnia, don't just lay there in bed and try to fall asleep. Get out of bed. And it said to read a boring book, but I didn't want to do that.
No, you wanted more stimulation.
Actually, I didn't want to sleep. I wanted to learn more about
Oh,
these weird obsessions.
right.
Oh,
There goes your phone.
Sorry. We can't figure out how to undo that.
That's okay.
Oh, well. All right. Well, this is what I learned. I learned that people... Sorry, I just said I said at the beginning of this podcast that I was going to be mindful and not say And now I just said it.
Well, okay, we could either leave that in now that you've
Explained myself.
Right.
Sorry.
We can edit it out. We'll
It
see
doesn't
what
matter.
happens.
All right. Let's see. We're going to talk about the pig, the bunny,
Oh,
the
gosh.
cat. All right. Those three had similarities because these people were completely obsessed with an animal.
Yeah. I didn't see all of them, but I saw the pig lady.
The pig lady had pigs every single where.
Yeah.
Every single where she had pigs.
Something doesn't sound right, but anyway.
It was rough. Everywhere you looked in her home, there was a photo or a image or drawing.
A doll, like stuffed animal.
Of a pig.
Ceramic ones. What I found intriguing, not only that this person has this, mental issue, okay, but the spouse goes along with it. And the spouse, I saw a few of them. I saw another one where this woman was obsessed with trolls, little doll trolls. And her husband, he didn't like it. He wasn't into them, but he didn't leave her. Is what I'm thinking. Like, these spouses don't leave their... I don't get it.
Are you talking about those trolls that we had in the 80s that were like little
and you
naked things and you swish them with your hands
and the hair goes boom. Yes, like what's that guy with the crazy hair that does that?
I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway.
Okay.
Yes, the spouse kind of is an enabler.
Well, in the cat lady.
Okay.
Okay, so we watched the cat. I watched all of these. I watched the cat, the bunny, and the pig. The cat woman, she
gross.
and her husband, they were given a cat on their wedding night, and that cat slept in their bed on their wedding night.
Okay, now here's my question. Okay, that was the first kitty they got. Is that right?
Well, it later said that she owned a couple of cats
Already?
I'm not sure on that if she owned them at that moment, but it said that she had owned a couple of cats previously, but on their wedding night, they got this kitty and it slept with them. I mean, they didn't say more than that. They just said it slept in the same bed with them, blah, blah, blah. I don't think anything else went on.
Oh, gosh. Okay, that didn't even...
I don't know.
Oh, God.
But the two of them together from the beginning of their relationship, the cats were a thing.
Okay. And then it grew into an obsession, it sounds like?
Well, okay, yeah. The man, he constructed in his home $10,000 worth of catwalks all around the home.
Okay.
I'm not kidding.
I can't imagine the smell.
I know. They didn't mention anything about that because what I got from this TLC program is they just wanted to give you like a voyeuristic view into like these homes, but they don't necessarily want to make these people feel bad,
Like I just did?
Well, I guess. Yes.
Well, it's a fact. I'm sorry.
Right.
There is an odor that
Even
would
if you
come-
keep up on all of that stuff, there'd have to be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he was in on
Okay.
it with her from the beginning. Now, the other one about the pig. So this woman, she was wearing a pig costume.
And a pig necklace.
Yes, I noticed that. It looked like it was like a rapper bling type of a pig
Yeah.
necklace. Anyway, she kind of roped her guy into it. He said he wasn't really into it. He really he could be better off without it, but as long as it made her happy, he was okay with it.
And he went with her to pick out a real live pig, because she had always wanted a real pig because all the other pigs were, ceramic and
Right.
all of that.
And he went along with that.
He did.
But he said he didn't want it, but he would go along with it. I'm like, that's a big ask.
I thought you were swearing for a second
Sorry.
there.
Well,
He's a big ass
sorry
for doing that.
Sorry, no. What I'm getting at is, as a husband and wife, that is a huge ask to ask your partner.
It is.
Could you tolerate 10,000 pigs in this house, ceramic stuffed and otherwise? And now we're going to have a potbelly pig, and it sleeps in their bed.
Did it?
Yeah, they had it.
Oh, that's right.
In the
Because she
bed.
was reading it a bedtime
The
story.
3 little pigs.
Yes.
And I did think that it was odd that they built the 3 little houses in their
Yeah.
yard.
Okay, even odder than that was the extended family waiting in the yard for them to come back with the pig. And they're all, like, oh, ha, ha.
They were
embracing-
singing E-I-E-I-O.
Were they?
They were singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm.
Oh my gosh, I don't know that. I picked up on that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, all I could think about was which family members are missing. Because they had a daughter that was like, oh, my mom, she's got this obsession, blah, blah, blah. But I do know that this couple had other kids.
Okay.
Were they there? Or were they like, I'm checked out. My mom's.
I think when it comes to things like this, you would have to have some people that are like, I can't do it.
I can't go along with
No.
this. Right.
And the one gal said that she would not bring any of her friends over
Right.
as a
And
teenager.
as a teenager, because she was embarrassed.
Right. Okay, there was another couple that were into bunnies.
Okay. Both.
Okay, they were both into the bunnies.
Okay.
And they had, just like the cats and the pigs, they had the little statues everywhere of bunnies. Everything was bunnies. But they also had real bunnies. And bunnies do things. So they had more bunnies and more bunnies. And every time a bunny dies, they put it in the freezer. And they keep it. They keep
No.
it. Yep.
Well, how many freezers must they have?
Well,
Because
they had 8 bunnies or so in their little freezer in their kitchen. With, get this, they showed the bunnies.
oh no.
So they had the dead bunnies.
oh
You couldn't see them. They were wrapped up in stuff, but they were labeled.
God, as if that's a little better.
Well, they were labeled with their names. But then they had ice cream next to it.
Oh
Blue bunny.
no,
Yep.
really?
I'm not making this up. I am not that creative. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Well, and then what they would do is, when they could save up enough money, they would send the frozen dead bunny off to this taxidermist / dehydrator.
Oh my God.
And they would do this dehydration process on the bunny. It's $500, so it's not cheap.
Oh my.
And then so what they do is they suck all the stuff out of the bunny, and then they puff them up with something. I don't know.
Okay.
But they send
Okay.
they send back.
I thought we were only going to talk about the
I'm sorry.
obsession.
Well, I'm sorry. This is part of it.
Uh-huh.
They send back a lifelike bunny.
That okay. You know what's going through my head?
What?
Little bunny foo foo
Hopping through the forest. Yeah, remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, so this couple, they were celebrating their wedding anniversary. And the woman, this is what she gave to her husband as a gift.
But
His favorite bunny, who had been frozen for years. She saved up her money. She
Okay.
scraped it together. And And she gave it to him at a restaurant.
I want to know. Okay, it's one thing that one person has this mental
Hello.
disorder. How do you get two to be in it together?
Every pot has a lid, Catherine. That's all I can say.
Also, it kind of makes me think too, like, of couple criminals, criminals that are couples. Like, how do you get them on board? Like, hey, I was thinking.
This would be a good idea.
What about? I mean, I don't
know. Anyway, that to be said is, I don't know how you get partners on board, and I would imagine that this could create a real deal breaker for some people. Mm-hmm. Did we talk about the adult babies?
No, I was waiting for that.
All right, let's talk about that, because that shocked me.
Yeah.
There is a thing, friends, out there, and it's called adult baby. And you can literally find a store, which happens to be in the Chicagoland area.
What?
Yeah. The one adult baby retail store.
Oh, there's only one.
They claim
thankfully.
that.
Okay.
Well, anyway, you can order it online. Mm-hmm. But did you look at the link? Did I send you the link?
No. I don't know.
Okay, so
if you did, I didn't look.
At this adult baby store,
Uh-huh.
they sell diapers.
Oh, I did look.
Okay.
Yes.
Onesies for adults.
Yes, I saw that.
You can buy a onesie, friends, and it can snap and everything, like a onesie t-shirt, you know.
The only thing I would buy, I just thought of this, that would be useful for me, would be a bib.
Well, okay. Well, that's more practical.
I know.
Because I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that they had there was onesie pajamas, footy pajamas, whatever you call them. Mm-hmm. And these adult babies, the two examples that I watched. No. Yeah, I watched two.
Didn't they have pacifiers and rattles?
Yeah. And when they do this pretending to be a baby thing, they suck on the pacifier all day long and they drink from a bottle like juice.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. The one guy, he was a very large baby. He was a very large baby. He was over 300 pounds.
Got baby fat.
He was over 300 pounds and a man, and he built himself a high chair that he could sit on.
He sits on?
He sits in this high chair and eats from...
Does he lock himself in?
Yes, it's like a tray, just like a regular high chair. Well, he turned his twin bed into a crib.
Wait, I want to know who feeds him.
Well,
does he get his little baby butt up and then kind of feed himself some baby food and then sit down in the high chair?
He eats baby food. He was eating banana and strawberry baby food out of a jar. Gosh. Mushy baby food.
Okay, I just have to say this. When I was pregnant for the first time, I don't know why, but I craved baby food. And I had some.
Have you craved it since?
No.
Thank God.
I know.
All right. And then also the crib situation.
Wow.
And both the adult babies that I looked at, they both slept in a crib at night.
Were they swaddled? Like, did they swaddle themselves?
No, but the 300-pound baby, he was in the habit of looking for a mommy. And he would hire, or I guess you can hire mommies to come in and tuck you in.
Oh, well, they're just as weird then.
Well, yes. But
I mean, I would be afraid if I answered an ad that said, I am a grown man.
Will you come tuck me in?
Will you come tuck me in?
I wouldn't do it, but
okay.
I wouldn't do a lot of things. So
that's right.
Okay. Well, anyway, he was on this quest for a mommy. And he had a mommy, but then she retired. I don't know what happened to her, but he was looking for another mommy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So he likes to be tucked in. He likes to be read a story, just like a baby would. Oh, and then he has crib toys that he likes to... He has one that mimics the sound inside the womb.
Does he have a mobile?
Yes.
Mobile?
Yes. Mobiles
What?
in the crib. Yeah, and a thing that like puts lights and sounds, like baby sounds and stuff in there. And the other one wore her hair in pigtails and wore a onesie, and she wore a diaper 100% of the time.
Oh, it was a female.
Well, she was born a male, but she was trans into a female. So she was identifying as a female.
Female baby.
Yes.
Adult baby.
Right.
Okay, let's get this right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the guy that made his own high chair, he said that his age was 2. He was going to be 2. So he could talk a little bit in like little sounds and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And he could feed himself and such. The other gal, she, I don't know. her age.
Okay.
But she disliked this baby thing. But she wore a diaper 100% of the time, even when she wasn't at home. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that.
I wonder, that being said,
Yeah.
as soon as we talked about adult babies,
Mm-hmm.
I never once thought of a female into this. And I see it more as a male type thing, wanting to be a baby. Isn't that weird?
What does that say about your husband, Catherine?
Well, I don't know.
Well, this is my very first little dip into the information about this disorder. I can't say whether or not that's true.
Neither can I.
I can see where you would come to that thought. However, I did discover, let me go to this website. Hold on a second.
So I'll just say, as you said that there was a gal with pigtails, my thought was, oh, I'm surprised.
Well, and she just liked a bunch of these, it's about being a baby. She felt content. Mm-hmm. Where was that website that I was going to look at? I forget now, and I can't find it, so I'll just skip it. A couple more things before we move on. There was one where this woman was obsessed with sleeping with a blow dryer.
Oh, I think I saw that.
And the blow dryer, I would think that would be a fire hazard. She would put it on the next to her bed, in her bed, and turn it on low. And the sound of it, which I get that because...
Like people like fans. They sleep with fans.
Yeah.
Well, not with the fan, but with it on.
In the room.
Yeah.
Right. I get that part. But the blow dryer would seem to be a fire hazard. And she sleeps with it in her bed on low, and she likes to put her hand in front of the air. And then she says if her feet are cold, which I could totally see that. She puts it down by her feet and blows hot air on her feet. Fantastic.
I don't get how it would work because when the air filter thing at the end of it gets clogged by a sheet or even hair, it stops. The hair dryer will like shut off, or it'll...
She didn't mention anything about that,
Yeah.
but here's what she said. She said that she lived in a family of like 10 kids or something like that. And her and her older sister shared a bed. And one night, her older sister was blow drying her hair while she was trying to fall asleep or something, and that started it. Okay. Like one little spark, and boom, now she's addicted to sleeping with this blow dryer. I know.
Very strange.
Okay, then
How about...
wait, go ahead.
The guy that was in love with his car.
Oh, yeah.
That remind me of Stephen King's Christine.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're not a Stephen King horror
but I know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy it was like it was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And he
I think it was a boyfriend.
And he
car.
was kissing it.
Yeah.
And such, physically. Okay. One more, and then we'll move on. The Oval Office guy.
Oh, I saw
Did you see that?
I didn't. I just read the caption. That's it.
All right. He's a guy in Texas, and apparently he had money to spend. And he turned an area of his house into, he literally added on to his house an Oval Office.
Okay, if I were to be obsessed with anything, it would be with, like, decorative something, grand, I guess. And I would consider that grand.
It was grand, but here was the problem. In his mind, he felt like he was just adding to the value of his home, and he wanted to move into a larger home and do it again because his whole home was filled with things about presidents.
Oh.
Any kind of a button or memorabilia about United States presidents, he had it.
Wow.
Including the replica of the Oval Office. And he purchased a limo that belonged to John F. Kennedy, or that he used to go to certain places.
Surprise me.
Okay, so he's invested hundreds of thousands. The addition that he put on his home cost him $250,000.
Yikes. Wow.
So he had a realtor come in to give a little assessment because now he's filled up every nook and cranny. And
okay.
He's got to move.
Uh-huh.
But he can't leave the Oval Office behind. So he invested $250,000 into just that piece. Guess how much his home is worth? $249,000.
Oh my
total.
gosh.
And
wow.
he's on like an acre or something.
Oh no. Does he have a wife?
Yes.
Does she go along with this?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's probably like, hey, Mr. President.
Actually, she looked way younger.
Oh.
And I don't know what part of Texas they were from, but she had a thick, like, Hispanic Mexican accent.
Okay.
So perhaps he went to Mexico to get her. You know what I mean? So maybe this is way better than what I had. I don't know. And they had 2 beautiful daughters.
Oh, man.
And the daughters were so sweet, and they're younger. Well, they were not allowed to move anything from the Oval Office.
Oh, of course not.
They could go in there, look around, but they couldn't touch.
They could come in for a photo shoot, maybe.
Right. And the guy would dress up like the president.
I'm sure.
And then the woman, she would dress up like Jackie Onassis Kennedy, right?
Well, if she's going to dress like any of the first wives, Jackie O would be the one.
And she looked great
to emulate.
Yeah, she had the gloves and the little pink cap, like little beanie cap that they used to wear back then. And then they get a driver to drive them around in that limo.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, they live a fairy tale life. Who wouldn't want that?
They do.
Come on, First Lady. Let's go have some fun.
We should do that with our guys.
Don't mind Marilyn Monroe over there. Just ignore her.
Right. Keep moving.
It's just a doll. It's okay.
Oh, my gosh. If these people got together, the cats, the bunnies, the pigs.
Oh, no.
Whew.
Oh.
All right. Well, that's about as weird as it gets.
I have a little bit more common.
Oh, good.
Obsessions. Okay. Some people are obsessed with exercising. I don't understand it.
I don't either, but I knew somebody who was into that, and it really was a problem for her. Like, it bothered her.
Oh, it bothered her.
It did, because she didn't want to be obsessed with it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes it can interfere with relationships.
It did.
Yeah, and a lot of athletes have that.
Okay.
Where they are like that. There is pulling out hair is an obsession. Some people have that. It's a little bit more common,
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine that either.
No.
Because it hurts.
Right.
But I think that's where they get the satisfaction. They feel like...
Well, I have heard of that, like cutting and things. The physical pain dulls the emotional pain.
Yeah. But some of them pull out of their eyebrows, their arms, and etc. Piercings.
Okay.
People can get really addicted to that, and tattoos.
Yeah.
Eating glass.
What?
I would not have known that that's a little bit more common than I thought. And these people can sustain serious injuries.
I can imagine. First of all, in your mouth, and then in your esophagus, and your stomach, and your
veins,
your other end,
or whatever it goes.
Everything.
Yeah. Brother.
Ouch.
I know. Eating dirt and soil.
Oof.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm not sure how to say this. Unrequited love. They're addicted to getting heartbroken.
Yeah. They just jump out of the fire into the frying pan.
Yeah. They enjoy
I think it's pronounced unrequited.
Oh, okay.
But
you're familiar. Okay.
Well,
okay, Tracy.
Yeah, you've never been dumped. Okay. Yeah, unrequited. It's just, you love somebody, but they don't love you back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And they enjoy the feeling of being rejected by love, and they're addicted to it.
Ow.
Sad about that. Eating and drinking sugar in an unusual way, I guess. And plastic surgery. That's a major one.
This is why I refuse to let you have a facelift, Catherine.
I want one.
No.
I want just a little bit of a lift.
No.
Take away the parentheses around my mouth.
No, because it's going to start with a little bit of a lift that you can barely see.
I could see where I would get it, because then I would want the chin a little bit.
Right. And then the neck, and then the hips.
The hips? What's wrong with my hips?
Nothing.
Okay. We said the tattooing. And working.
Addicted to working? Well, okay. First of all, there's a difference between being addicted to something and being obsessed with it. But I'm not really sure how to define, what's the fine line
Well, we won't get into all that, but these are obsessions as well.
You can be obsessed with working?
Mm-hmm.
That's just like a workaholic. Okay.
Yes. I don't have that necessarily.
Obviously. She quit her job.
Times 10 or maybe 20.
Yeah, we've had over 40 jobs combined.
Listen in to our other episode.
The trying episode. Mm-hmm. We tried things. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. So when we were listening to these things, or when we were we weren't doing the research at the same time, but it was simultaneous, but I was in my home and Catherine was in her home, and we were kind of texting each other back and forth just a little bit. I was learning things about people that just made me question humanity.
Same.
It really did. I was like, how did they get there?
Right.
How did they? Do you know?
Nobody really knows, okay? So that's where I was going. Like, okay, I've seen enough or read enough. Why are people like this? What causes this? How do you become completely obsessed? Because it's a form of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And what I found with the John Hopkins Health information, and they say experts aren't sure of the exact cause of OCD. Genetics, brain abnormalities, and the environment are thought to play a role. And it often starts in the teens or early adulthood.
Wait, whenever a doctor says it's either genetic or it's environment, isn't that everything?
It does sound like a blanket explanation, but...
Yeah, it's code for we don't know.
Well, they said that. They said they don't really know the exact cause. They know that plays a role. Now, it doesn't say it here, but I feel that on another reputable site that it said that sometimes when someone has neglect in their life and then a trigger.
Yes,
a trauma
I have heard that.
Trigger is said. But they can't say that that's exactly it, because there's many people who have been neglected in life and have had a trauma.
It doesn't end with them collecting pigs.
Exactly.
Okay.
So therefore they can't say for sure. But they do say that the OCD affects men and women equally. But I would venture to say, this is just me, okay, that men have probably more of a tendency for certain OCD things.
Like the baby one.
Yeah. And women with other things, like wanting to be a mermaid,
Well, that would make sense, because women are a little bit more nurturing and men
want to be nurtured.
Yeah, mostly. I mean,
we all want to be nurtured, but men, I don't know. I just big babies. No, I don't know. I really don't. But
thank you to our sponsors, Puppet.
Yeah. My husband is not like that.
Let's keep going before we have no sponsors.
Yeah. But I thought this was interesting, too, that what are the symptoms of OCD? We didn't plan this.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to go on anyway.
No, I want to hear.
Obsessions are unfounded thoughts, fears, or worries, and they happen often and cause great anxiety, as we know. That's why it's called obsessive compulsive disorder. And reasoning does not help control the obsessions. And that common obsessions are a strong fixation with dirt or germs, which would explain eating the dirt and things like that. Repeated doubts, for example, about having turned off the stove. I do know of people.
You just wonder, did I do it? And check a bunch of times. I've heard of that.
Yeah, leaving the house and you're like, oh my gosh, did I turn off the stove? Did I, turn the knobs, whatever?
Wait, go back one step. When you said about, what was the one before turning off the stove?
A strong fixation with dirt or germs, so washing hands.
Curious if the COVID-19 pandemic, which hopefully now we're done with, but people that had germ issues.
A phobia.
Yeah, germ issues to whatever level. I wonder if that's all been aggravated now and triggered up, and now these poor people are really scared.
I would imagine. Yeah. Sure. The first time I learned about OCD that I can recall anyway it was a movie with Jack Nicholson, and he obsessively washes his hands. And he wouldn't step on a crack in the sidewalk.
Was it the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest?
No. No. It actually really doesn't seem that long ago. Gosh, it's a kind of funny. It had Helen Hunt.
Okay.
Oh, darn it.
I'm kind of
Our listeners are going to be
not.
Just snapping it right off.
Yeah.
It's very good movie. Darn it.
Oh, we'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Another thing is a need to have things in very specific order. I could be borderline that. Honestly, I could.
We went to Goodwill yesterday, and Catherine had a bag of silverware that she was donating.
Yeah.
In the bag, do you mind if I share this?
I don't mind.
Because you,
It's okay.
Well,
Because I think of it as that's all good.
Okay, so so she had sorted the bag, and she had the silverware sorted and rubber banded together.
That's right. By their pattern.
Right.
And their function.
Yes. And then she had one spoon that was all by itself.
I know.
But it was a soup spoon. Or
It was a soup spoon, and it didn't have a mate. The other spoons were regular spoons for, like, say, your cereal or your ice cream or whatever. Pudding.
I
And
said,
the soup spoon cannot touch the other spoons, Tracy.
I said to Catherine, I said, well, can't you just put it in? Because you seem to feel sad that this one was all by itself.
Well, I was joking.
Well,
I
you said,
wasn't
oh,
really
this
sad.
poor guy's all alone. And I said, well, can't you just lump him in with the other spoons? They're all spoons.
And I wanted to hit you with it.
Yeah, because you were like, absolutely not. It's not a teaspoon, it's a soup spoon.
I have a little bit of the Rain Man in me. That's where I first learned about OCD, actually, was the Rain Man.
All right.
No, the forks, and so they were together. How do I say this? I had them bundled in a thing together, the forks, the spoons, the soup spoon, but then broke it down.
Subcategories of
exactly.
salad fork, dessert fork,
That's right.
teaspoon, tablespoon.
And the funny thing is, it was going to a thrift store.
She was
where
donating
I know they're going to undo it all.
And throw it in a bin.
Yeah.
All of it together.
Well, my intention was to not take it to Goodwill.
Oh.
It was supposed to go to like Morningstar Mission,
Okay.
but we weren't going that way.
Right.
So I was able to let go.
There. See, I think that's why you don't cross over the line
I know.
of crazy.
But I said I could.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. Okay,
We'll
here's
find
another
out.
one. All right. Thoughts about violence or hurting someone.
Yeah.
Okay. Spending long periods of time touching things or counting. I do not have that.
No.
Thank God. Fixation with order or symmetry. Okay, I could borderline that one.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Persistent thoughts of awful sexual acts, and also troubled by thoughts that are against personal religious beliefs. Well, that's it on the symptoms, okay. But it can be treated.
Well,
so let's go into that.
Yes, because that was our third takeaway, is to talk about treatment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what can you do if you or somebody that you really care about struggles with these, behaviors, thoughts and behaviors? Because really, thoughts begat behaviors,
Oh, gosh, yes. In fact, what's that scripture? I should know
Is it the Apostle Paul when he
Yeah.
says, the things that I do not want to, the Dr.
Yes,
Seussy one
yes.
that you talk about? That one is more so talking about sin, which is a behavior, which, stems from a thought because it begins in the mind.
Yep.
But Paul was referring to, I want to be right. Like I want to be righteous, right living.
Right.
But I have these struggles.
Yeah. Well, and you could put it in the same thought process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how is it treated?
Yeah. How is
Because
it treated?
It's all related to OCD. Some of it's crazier than others, like we were discussing earlier. But nonetheless, your healthcare provider will figure out the best treatment, and it's going to be based on how old you are. It's going to be based on your overall health and medical history, how sick you are, how well you can handle specific medicines, procedures, or therapies, how long the condition is expected to last. And actually, they even take in your opinion or preference. But the treatments all come down to anti-anxiety or antidepressant medicines. Cognitive behavioral therapy is also used. So basically, therapies that do work and they're proven to work, and medications.
Professional help. You would need to see a professional doctor
Exactly.
who can really give you a good assessment. Everybody's different. And obviously there are lots and lots of people that have, interests or borderline obsessions. Like, somebody might have a whole room that is all a collection of something.
Yeah, Beanie Babies, whatever. That being said, OCD is a common condition.
Yeah.
It causes persistent disturbing thoughts and compulsive rituals that attempt to ease the anxiety, but it's common. So if you have a little bit of it, don't worry.
Yeah, and comfort is one word that kept kind of bubbling up for me as we were doing this research. These people are looking for some sort of security, some sort of comfort. So they're feeling a sense of real angst.
Exactly. And stress, definitely, we know that does trigger it.
Yeah.
Right. And they're seeking comfort. Yeah.
The disconnect is in what brings them comfort. Like the one woman that we were talking about before, who her obsession was eating dirty diapers.
Yeah. Sucking them.
Yeah.
Pee soaked.
It has
diapers.
to be pee soaked.
Yeah.
And she would suck on it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Part of me was like, okay, are they just doing this for a moment of the spotlight?
Yeah. It does make you question.
To get some time on television or YouTube or TikTok or whatever, because it's so hard to believe.
Right. But that's where, it's mental health. And if there's anything that we know, it's that our country, the United States of America, is suffering under the weight of a lot of mental health issues that need to be addressed by professional people that can bring help. Yeah.
Hey, I just thought of something that I'd like to share that might be helpful. So some years back, I had this extreme anxiety, and I was kind of obsessing and worrying about things that I conjured up in my mind. I was worried about finances. I was worried about the future. And I went to a therapist, and they used she used this, it sounds crazy, but she put this, it's I forgot what it's called, but electrotherapy thing. And it supposedly all you do is you just sit there and you rest. She turns off the lights. She puts on relaxing music. And you start off by watching this screen, and then this electro thing changes the pattern in your brain waves. That's all I really knew. And normally I would think, but it worked. I have never felt, and it was therapy too, and antidepressants.
Okay,
medication.
So there was a combination of treatment modalities, or whatever they call it in scientific world. There was something to help get your chemical reaction in your brain under control. So there was medicine for that. And then there was the talk therapy, because you spoke to the therapist about different things.
Right.
And then there was, the brain is a pretty amazing organ.
It is. And I believe 100% that helped. I do.
Here are the results. Here are the results. Yeah. You experienced it. You went in there with a problem and you came out with a solution.
I really did.
And it did take time and effort and, consistency. You know who talks a lot about brain pathways? That Dr. Caroline Leaf. She's a Christian neuroscientist.
Okay.
And she talks about pathways in the brain that can be interrupted, and then recreated into a new pathway.
Yeah.
So if you were thinking, I just have to be a baby, you can, somehow. But, I think the process could be quite complex, depending on what the circumstances are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm glad I shared that. I did not intend to do that, but I suddenly remembered about all of that.
Well, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Any other treatment things that you wanted to share?
No, I think that we pretty much went over everything. I'm looking this over real quick.
All right. If there's anything left, I'm going to, you just pop in, but I'm going to go to the scripture. Every single episode of our podcast, we do our best to come up with some kind of a scripture that we can share, because that's our belief. Our belief system is our faith in God and Christianity, and we believe that the Bible has comfort for us and solutions. So
absolutely.
There are two verses that Catherine actually found these. Philippians 4 verse 8 says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." Then the other scripture is Psalm 139 verses 23 to 24. And it says, "Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting.
Excellent. Another scripture that just popped into my mind too is think of the things above, so the things of heaven.
Yeah.
Focus on that.
I think that helps us in life in so many ways. You know, when we have faith that there is a better life, there is an afterlife, there's hope for heaven, there's hope for perfection, because this world is pretty broken. You know, so it gives us a lot to look forward to.
For sure.
Call to action. Beware of signs and get help.
Yeah.
You know, if you see yourself kind of slipping into one of these realms of obsession, seek some help. It doesn't mean that you have to give up your pigs or your bunnies or your cats altogether.
Yeah.
But perhaps you can scale it back a little bit.
Yeah.
There was one, I'm just going to say this real quick. There was one episode that I watched where these two guys, they collected vintage appliances.
Oh, right.
Okay. But when they showed their home with the vintage appliances, everything looked really cool. It was almost like a museum. The way that they had everything displayed, it was not cluttered. It was actually beautiful to look at. And they were so knowledgeable about washers and dryers and vacuums and toasters and blah, blah, blah. Well, they had come to the point in their home that they had agreed, no longer can we add to this collection. We're maxed out.
Yeah.
We either need to move or adopt the strategy of one in, one out. I thought that was pretty, at least they put a boundary on themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
I just had an idea for these two men.
Yeah.
You used the word museum. What if they turned their home into a museum and lived somewhere else? Because really, that's what museums are. There's a museum for, campers, and wouldn't that be neat for a museum for appliances?
I enjoy museums, and I enjoyed looking at the collection that they had. Because
you said that.
Yeah, because they were really cool looking and representative of so many different eras in our country. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if they would go for that. They might be like, I don't want anybody touching my stuff.
Right, I get that. I was intrigued by this little boy that had an obsession with fans. And for such a little kid,
yes,
not only did he speak intelligently, and eloquently, because, like I said, this kid had to be, 9?
Right-ish? Yeah.
And he knew so much about vintage fans, the old Hasek fans, and all kinds of things. And so I was a little intrigued and majorly curious. How did this kid get like that?
Yeah, and it could be that he will do something with fans.
Yeah.
All right. Our next episode is going to be on clutter and hoarding. Appropriate after today.
Hey, and also, I think it's important that, we always have show notes and we put in the links, but I feel that these links will be important if you do struggle with obsessive behavior. So look up the links that we have, the John Hopkins one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the other one's Mayo Clinic.
Yeah, those are reputable resources for medical help because it's a medical issue.
And there's a lot more that I didn't say on this John Hopkins one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Catherine, for all the research and fun. Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm still Catherine.
See you next time.
Goodbye.